By SABC sports journalist Velile Mbuli. Velile, good morning and welcome to AM News.
Thank you, Ramos.
What an event week it was. What does this mean, the appointment of the new president for FIFA? What does it mean for Africa and for Tokyo Sexwale?
Look, I think for football globally, it's a new era. In the fact that when you look at the candidates that were there, Sheikh Salman Ibrahim Al Khalifa had been there. He was the Vice President of FIFA under Sepp Blatter. You also have Prince Ali, who's been there. He's had his own battles as well. Jerome Champagne, he had also been there, working with Blatter at FIFA at some stage. Maybe our candidate, Mr. Tokyo Sexwale, had not been there. So to have someone who has not served in the FIFA structures in terms of having been elected previously and be tainted by whatever that has happened previously at FIFA, well, I think it's something good because it means that we can look forward to new developments at FIFA, more especially that he's also coming in at the time when new reforms have also been voted in and successfully going to be implemented over the next 60 days. So I think it's a good thing for football globally, but whether it is also a good thing for even other areas like Africa, like Asia, it remains to be seen.
Now, what does this mean then for Tokyo Sexwale? Because look, last week we know now that the man who's at the helm of FIFA was here, hosted by Tokyo Sexwale. They even took a tour to Robben Islands and the likes. What does it mean? Does it mean now Tokyo is more in than out as things stand?
I think I've heard a lot of things being said over the past 18 hours, especially after this election. As things stand, a vice president at FIFA is not appointed or elected by somebody just because he likes somebody. A vice president has got to be somebody who is a CAF president, for instance. And that's how even Al Khalifa is the vice president, because he's the president of the Asian Football Confederation. So Infantino on his own cannot decide that, no, I like Tokyo, I worked with him, then he's going to be my deputy.
Maybe not as a deputy, but many are talking
let's
about
continue.
the SG.
Let's continue. And also as an SG, I noticed that Infantino has already said that his SG would be somebody who's strong, but not coming
from Europe. Yeah.
Yes. And I see what people have already been saying.
People are getting ahead of themselves.
But bear in mind that he had been saying this even long before there were these reported ties between him and Tokyo. But you cannot rule out any close cooperation between the two, because you had him, in fact, Infantino, when he was here in South Africa, that he is prepared to work together with any candidate, including Tokyo Sexwale. But also maybe we should give this story of Tokyo Infantino just a clear picture, because in December, Tokyo was very close in having a cooperation with Ibrahim Al Khalifa, because at that time, CAF had not endorsed anyone. But as soon as CAF endorsed Sheikh Salman, then there were a few moves around. And on Thursday, I spoke to his campaign manager, Mr. Peter Polongwenya. And at that time, he continued to say the talk of alliances and the talk of partnerships is strong. And yesterday, it's also fair to say Infantino was delivered by alliances, because people who had voted for Prince Ali in the first round moved in the second round to vote for Infantino, and some of them are reported to be African. But there's a silent kingmaker in all of this. His name is Musability.
Tell us more about it.
I think you know him from Liberia, and his advantage is that he was not just somebody who was shouting from outside. Musability is a Liberian FA president, and he had tried to also stand for this election. CAF rejected him, and he also tried to even come in, but the FIFA Integrity Committee, in fact the FIFA Ethics Committee, through their integrity checks, also rejected him. But I think he's smiling wherever he is right now.
So I guess now, like in politics, there aren't permanent friends or enemies like now, like we've seen now in the recent developments when it comes to the FIFA presidential race. But now let's for a moment focus on Tokyo Sexwale's journey until the moment he decided to pull out of this race. He didn't really enjoy much support from South African Football Association, from CAF, and one can go as far as even from the Department of Sports. Why is that?
Well, I will leave the Department of Sport out of this because this is a football matter. But it was Safa who endorsed him. And had it not been for Safa, we're not sure if he was going to be able to even get the required 5 nominations for him to be eligible as a candidate. So I won't go as far as saying he didn't receive Safa's support. Because in October, had it been not for Safa to endorse him and nominate him, and even allocate to him some of their staff members to work with him to even source nominations from countries like Lesotho, countries like Mozambique, countries like Namibia, countries like Zimbabwe. I don't think that would have been possible. But I think when the issue now moved forward to maybe sourcing continental support, then that's where the politics started. Because remember, Sheikh Salman Al Khalifa, even before he decided that he was also standing for the election, he went to meet Issa Hayatou, who was acting president of also FIFA at the time. And it was only then that he decided. So I think it was always going to be impossible. But I think what has happened is that the alliances in the past, bloc voting of CAF and Asia that have delivered for Sepp Blatter were defeated yesterday by these guys from Europe. But I should also warn that Europe, UEFA in particular, under the same Infantino, they are the ones who have decided that as from 2018, European countries will not be playing international friendlies with other countries from outside Europe. And at some stage even threatened to pull out of FIFA. So I hope that going forward, Infantino, who I believe is a fresh candidate to help football going forward, will be inclusive in a way that he'll be running football.
Just before I let you go, let's talk about CAF, because many in South Africa feels that CAF never supports the South African football administrators. You'd remember the Denny Jordan saga. And what's your view around that?
No, I think it's a fact. And not just only at CAF, and even here in our region, the COSAFA region, Southern African region. We know that many have tried before, even Denny himself, just to be a president of COSAFA, which is, in political terms, you call it SADC. But it's been difficult. So now it remains to be seen. Also, look, these things are not new, Marumo. In 2002, Hayatou also tried to contest Blatter, and he was ignored by the same African candidates. In fact, voters who voted for Blatter. In 2004, Bamji from Botswana tried to wrestle for the CAF presidency with Issa Hayatou. People from this region, in the Southern African region, also dumped him. You know, so in football, these things happen. Sometimes it's not always about the politics of the region, but it's the politics of the stomach, and it's also the politics of the convenience.
Mr. Mbuli, we can chat about this the whole day. Thanks a lot for coming through. That was SABC sports journalist Velile Mbuli. Stay with us. AM News continues immediately after this short break.